I am Seidoa Linus Eyemia. I'm a professional artist. I'm a curator as well. But I'm more of the artist now. I studied painting in school, and I paint, and my works actually talk about the contemporary Lagos life, especially as it relates to transportation and the Danfo you find around Lagos. I'm trying to tell the Danfo story in a new way, in a better way from what I think people have been saying, and I'm trying to create a new sense of understanding or appreciation for this popular culture we all live with in Lagos. So that's why I paint today, and that is what my works basically talk about: Lagos and Lagos Danfo. Like so many artists before me would say, like when I was a child, I loved drawing. I used to draw everywhere, and yes, I'm one of them. I did that. I drew a lot on the floor, on the walls. I did a lot of paintings, and I was very fortunate to have a very wonderful father who was always providing art materials for me. So I had the opportunity to explore as much as I could as a child, and I created a lot. Then just having fun. Basically, children who studied art or didn't, they are all doing the same thing. It's just part of a stage of growth for a lot of us who have that part of creativity very high in us. So that was how maybe it started. I grew for so many years. I lost my dad quite early, so I didn't have all the full encouragement, but I still loved this thing. When I got to SS2 or SS3, yeah, it wasn't clear what I wanted to do. Like, I wasn't sure at all. Was it going to be art? Was it going to be this? I also love history. Like, I love history a lot. And I was thinking I was going to be an historian. I was saying it that day, I would be an historian. But later, I loved art again. So it was revolving around the two, and eventually I felt like, man, this is me, this is what I like doing, this thing gives me joy, let me do it. So I wasn't fortunate to be in a school that was teaching art at that time, so I have to go to a different school to meet the art teacher. So I was going to his place every evening to learn from him. Like, I took classes, and I wrote it in my WAEC, I wrote it in JAM, and I gained admission into art school. But something happened within the period of my SS classes, or the decision-making time. One of the things that happened was I encountered a book that has a collection of a lot of portraits, and I loved the portraits, like beautiful paintings of so many people. And I was like, oh, I would like to do this too. So it reinforced my love for this thing, and I felt like, oh yeah, this is what I would do. And I decided pretty fast about it, and I got myself into art school, and yeah, today I am painting and I'm enjoying doing it because it gives me joy. That's the key thing. I wasn't too sure I was going to be painting today immediately, because when I left school, I did not start like right away. I didn't start painting. I didn't start creating artworks right away. But I was studying art. I was creating some kind of stuff, like I paint. I have paintings I did within that period. Like all the time you find yourself painting, or people knew will say, help me do this. I want to do a portrait. I did all of that, but I was not very sure this is the thing I want to do. I wasn't sure because from the system of the schools to what I was seeing in the industry, I was a bit scared if there was a need to practice, because I wanted to do something different from what many people are doing, and I saw so many people doing relatively the same thing, and probably this is what the galleries want, this is what the people want to see, but this is not what I want to do. And since what I want to do is not what everybody's doing, I was a bit reluctant. Like I wasn't painting as such, because then it wasn't going to be what I'm creating now. But I knew I didn't want to do what the majority were doing. So it was a bit difficult to decide if I was going to just be creating the works. I want to tell my story like the cavemen did. They were telling their stories on the walls of the caves like the Egyptian did. So I felt like I want to do my thing, and I really wanted people to see my thing. So I needed to be sure. I dream about some of the concepts I paint. So I really wanted to give myself, if you see my work, it should be telling you something about me. So all of that were the reasons why I was going through a lot of challenges of should I paint, should I not paint? But eventually I saw one young Nigerian man. He's not really young per se, he's older than me. And he was doing something different from what everybody was doing. I was like, this is Nigerian. I love this work. I felt the work was real to him. His name is Bob Nusa. So I was like, I want to be like this person. I sent him a message on Facebook, like, I love your work. Like, they're fantastic. This is unique. This is different. I felt this guy was sincere to himself. And eventually we met. I told him I loved what he was doing. And when I saw what he was doing and he spoke with me, I thought he read the same book. He said he didn't read any book, but he has had the conviction in him right from time. So after speaking to him, we became friends. We started talking. I had this encouragement, like the motivation to, yes, you go do your own thing. Don't care about the crowd. Close your ear from them, do your thing, and they will come. And well, we thank God today we're painting and people are enjoying the works today. One thing was you need to get materials and you need to have funds to get your materials. So it was whatever I was doing that was giving me money. Like not whatever, I used to do graphic designs for people, I do printing, I was working with some event people. So all of that, when I get the money, I buy materials. I also had a couple of colors, like a lot. I bought then because I had a project, like a mural project. So we bought close to 15, if not to 20 cups of these colors. So I had plenty of colors. So it helped me to experiment, and I have a lot of works that I did then that eventually they were unable to get to the gallery level, but I had a lot of materials, or I invested into the materials to experiment. So, and nobody needed to tell me paint it like this, paint it like that, but there are a lot of things about the business I discovered without any formal class. I listen to people a lot, very much. I listen to people, and mostly older colleagues. I read, I'm a lover of YouTube. So I pick from this person, I pick from that person. But the key thing I think most of us never knew in school was that we did not know how to create a brand, because art is basically creating a brand. You can't tell me this today, you tell me that tomorrow. Even if you're telling me this today and telling me that tomorrow, is there a connection between yesterday and today? Are you talking about your time, or you're talking about a time that doesn't concern you? Even if you're talking about yesterday or maybe 200 years back, are you relating to the people of this time the way they will understand it, or you are relating 200 years ago the way it was represented 200 years ago? In school, you paint it like that. You do a painting of Nefertiti, for instance, you will be depicting it like it's here in the Egyptian era. But I think contemporary art is not that way. It should be something this generation should be able to connect with. If you are remixing, that's what you do in music, you have to sing it like this time. You don't have to sing it like the way it was. You could pick elements from those generations. Like my work has elements from so many artists who have even painted over 100 years ago, but I will represent it, talking about it in this time and in a very different way. Funding and getting your branding right are the key things. Like, I know I learned from the whole process of trying to grow up. So I'm a bit different in my practice, very different, and that's maybe the challenge I have. One, I don't carry my works to galleries as such. Like, I have been in a gallery where artists came with so many of his works, and the gallery will be saying, this one, I don't do that. Because most of the galleries, I don't feel they will represent it the way I want to. So I think one of the things that I would have said is the major challenge my work has is that many people have not seen them, and I want many eyes to see them, but I want them to be displayed in the right manner and in the right places where the right people or the many people will see them. So getting enough galleries, like the kind of galleries I want to exhibit with, is practically a challenge, because between last year to this year, I exhibited with only one gallery, that's Art 21 in a hotel run by Kalin Shagori. So yeah, it was a superb exhibition. It was a perfect place. I was like, man, because I exhibited in 2019 with some group of people, I wasn't really satisfied with the way my work was. My uncle wanted to see a video of it. I did a video though, but I couldn't send it to him because I felt this is not how I want people to see my work. So I now withdrew, and I like, if I don't get the right representation, I'm not putting out my work anywhere. So the major challenge is getting the right galleries to represent your work. And another thing is, before I discovered the gallery, I went to one or two galleries, but I didn't carry my physical work. I went with photographs in a portfolio. But the reaction I got from those galleries were, they weren't confident to show my work because they weren't sure of the audience that were coming to their gallery, if they were going to be ready to see something different or something new. They wanted things that looks like the things everybody is doing. I didn't want to do those kind of things. So that was why I started withdrawing. Like, I want to see people interested in what I'm doing, then we can continue. But me chasing them, yeah, even if I will have to chase people, then it has to be the right people. So, well, we really don't have a lot of galleries who want to try the great things. Yeah, and many times in history, people keep missing the beautiful works, the works that end up making history. Most of the time, they don't end up joining. Like, people don't tend to benefit well enough because they were scared to start with these people. After I exhibited with at 21, I have had 3 other galleries that have approached me. One out of Lagos, one out of Nigeria, then another one in Lagos. So yeah, some of them were waiting to see, like, yeah, people like his work is now showing in that place. But not everybody wants to start you when you want to build the brand. So it's just those who really believe in, yeah, this guy has something unique and this is what we need. If you look at the continuum of artistry or the canon of painting, or I don't know the term to use, yeah, you know, it's not 100% different from what has existed. I did not invent colors, I didn't invent canvas, but minimalism is not new. There is a popular name, like some people when they see my work, they mention Piet Mondrian. You could say Frank Stella, you could talk about Klee, you could even relate it to, like myself, I relate it to the Ndebele traditional motifs in South Africa. So I can't say it is exclusively new or different from what has existed. It falls into a continuum of history that has existed before it. But then, it is talking about Danfo now. And talking about Danfo, you could Google Danfo if you don't mind. You could check the hashtag on Instagram after now, and you hardly find something like this painting you have here. You hardly find something like that painting. I do that, I check Danfo a lot because it's one of the hashtags that I follow. And people don't represent the Danfo story the way I am representing them currently. It's very different. This is me speaking, but I've heard it from people within Nigeria and even outside Nigeria, like, this is a very different way, or this is a new perspective to what we have been seeing. I pretty know it is. But I'm not saying minimalism, like they call it in the academic setting, is a new thing. People have been painting with flat colors, minimal colors, less details, go straight to the point, clean lines. All of that has existed for many years before me, and it will continue even after me. But in each of us who do this kind of painting, we have always tried to create something unique about us. That's the more reason why you said you saw so many yellows on my works. Yeah, because it's more like the me, the real me as a Lagosian. Of course, I'm referring to the yellow Danfo bus you saw on your way coming here and everybody is seen all around. It is that Danfo. The first thing about most people who depict Danfo, they pick out the two black lines on the yellow bus. That one is very common and it will continue. Then the second thing is, tell people to paint Danfo, they will paint a bus for you. If you look at my gallery on my phone, you see those two lines on the bodies of those Danfo buses. I have a variation of many other designs I have discovered from those buses. It's not just about two lines sometimes. There are varieties of them I have discovered, and I pick concepts from those guys and I interpret it in a very different way. You know, when they tell us to write a composition in secondary school, then they will give everybody a topic. But by the time we all write our compositions, they come out in different way because our thought processes are different. So I get this information. When it goes into me, my brain processes it differently. So in the course of processing those information, I tend to create these kind of works you are seeing today. So that's why it's like different, but it's still the same Lagos story I'm telling. Talking about the process of my work, most of the time it starts from observing and listening to the streets. I listen to people a lot, I observe what's happening a lot, and I pick ideas from there. Before I created these works, okay, let me just explain from the titles of some of the works here now. The first work up there is Okada Man. Everybody in Lagos can relate to Okada Man when you say Okada Man. So it's from the streets, but why can't we paint a beautiful Okada Man that can hang both here and in Los Angeles? It can hang in Helsinki, it can be hung in Pompeii or wherever. The people like, what is this work about? And we say, no, this is Okada Man. In this generation where we have Okada today, I am talking about this time, I'm documenting this time, but I'm representing it in a way that even people outside here would want to know more details about this. If you are new in Lagos and you first encounter my work and I tell you this is Johnny Just Come, and you're like, what is Johnny Just Come? You can Google it, then you'll understand, oh, something like this can happen. Then you will know how to relate to the people, because you could be a victim to people who take advantage of newcomers. So like this other one now, I titled it Owoda. Yeah, sorry, I'm sorry though, but not really sorry as such. The reason why the black line shouldn't even be on the yellow is because it shouldn't just be straight to the point sometimes. It should be like, why did you put the two black lines on the white place? Yeah, because I believe we can purify the concept of, or we can redefine the concept of collecting tax or collecting money from people in Lagos. You see the way I go like, hey, Alaye, you know, all those kind of stuff. And I feel there can be a better way, even if I have some idea how it can happen. But I want to make people discuss this topic, or it should be part of discussions. So I'm trying to say it can be pretty organized the way my work looks. And I really want people to inquire or to feel interested in the story. So it's more of the story for me. I create a visual representation, and my visual representation oftentimes starts from paper to the system. Sometimes it doesn't get to the system, but sometimes it gets to the system. So I create a graphic representation, I look at it. After looking at it, sometimes I edit. Sometimes the editing takes place while I'm working on it, on the canvas. So, but it takes quite a number of while. Most times it takes weeks, sometimes even more than a month before I execute the work, because I'll really contemplate real good. Sometimes it might be complex, I'll be reducing it to the most simplest way it can come out. So all of that happens before I get my canvas. I get colors on the canvas. Then I work with some of the materials you find here. Like I measure a lot so the lines can be straight, so it can be very perfect. Yeah, I measure like all the time. Sometimes I use pencil, ruler, I mark it just to be sure I get it right. You see, I have masking tape right here. Sorry, I scattered the stuff. Yeah, so I use it to mark the lines so the colors will look neat. So I do that, then I work with acrylic color because it dries very fast. It looks very neat. It looks very brilliant. And I think that's it for now. I apply my colors with brushes. Like you can see, I have my brushes here. So I work with brushes. Don't mind the yellow brushes. I love them because they pretty look like the yellow I paint. So yeah, so that's me and how I work. Well, since I started painting and professionally practicing, I've been very fortunate. Yeah, let me put it this way. I initially said I tried starting with some lower galleries. I didn't succeed, but I am fortunate to exhibit or to be exhibiting with one of the best galleries, if not the best gallery in Lagos. That's at 21 Lagos. So many people dream they want to have their works hung on that wall, but not everybody gets in. Not everybody. Really, before you get the opportunity to have your work in such high class gallery. So me exhibiting or to have exhibited with such a gallery, it's a big one for me, because even people who I feel that this guy has gone high in the industry, I really wish I can exhibit in that gallery. But it's not easy to get in there. So yeah, that's pretty one. Then last year, Artex Lagos, I don't know if you know about Artex Lagos, is the biggest art fair in West Africa. I was one of their finalists during the Artex review. I knew I was the last person that was interviewed. I applied like almost at the end of the whole thing, but within 48 hours, I got a mail from them to send my portfolio, and I got the opportunity to be part of the participants in the review and one of the finalists. I think we were 12 in number, and I think the 3 people that ended with me, the last review, like I'm from Nigeria, one was from Panama, the other one from UK. So it's a big one. I know they had over 500 applicants, like they said, but not everybody got to that height. Not everybody has gotten the opportunity to have their works posted on ArtX page. Like, it's a big big one for me, and it is really cool that I have been fortunate to get people from the high class being interested in my work more than those down. Yeah, so it's a good achievement. The value of a work of art is not quantified by monetary value we place on them. A lot of times it's not by that. And the value, oftentimes, mostly in the secondary market, is not even determined by the artist himself. Yes, I kind of have some prices I tag my work with when I want to sell them. Like I say this one is 250,000 naira. Yeah, it's not because of the work is this size or is that size. I value it by what I perceive the creativity I've put into it worth. So that's how I do it for myself. Then a lot of time in the market, in the primary market, like in the galleries, the size of the work contributes to what the work should cost or what it's going to cost. The name of the artist, like how well or how good is that brand being bought. I see my work breaking records in the art market. Like I can't tell, I wouldn't know how much it's going to go for, but I feel what I am doing would make those headlines in the future, and I really want it to influence the way people think, the way people behave, especially in Lagos. Like Lagos sometimes gets so chaotic, and I pick inspiration from this chaos and refine it to a very clean canvas painting. And I really want to see this clean canvas painting influencing the people who inspired me again. So I envisage it's going to bring discussion that will make Lagosians look at if these are lifestyles or these old kiosks could make somebody say, I want people to move in straight lines, to move clean, to have a clean environment, to have a more structured way of going about doing things. I really see that happening, because if I have more of this going out and more people getting involved in the discussion, it's really going to influence the characters of people, and it might give us a better Lagos in the future. So I see it influencing lives, influencing thinking, influencing the basic things you find yourself around. Like even the car you drive, maybe someday you'll be picking somewhere from my work to paint your car, and it's going to look pretty unique from all the rest cars on the road. So that's really what I see my work doing in the future. I believe I will be involved in very important exhibitions, hopefully in the next 5 years' time to come, around the world. I want to believe before the next 5 years to come, I would have been able to create more interesting pieces than the ones I have today. Any other thing that comes out of creating those beautiful pieces that is going to make the world a better place is left to the people who are receiving the work. So whatever they do, if they receive it well and if they appreciate it well, it may go beyond what I am expecting. But for now, I can say, yeah, being part of important exhibitions, creating more interesting pieces and all of that is what I can do, which are the things I can control within my own power.